What up, this is your boy Ruiz Jr. and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Faisal for Lights Out, proudly sponsored by Spartans Law. We're here at Bournemouth Beach, ahead of Saturday night show at the Bournemouth International Centre. Delighted to be joined by Sky Sports' very own Mr. Matthew Macklin. Matthew, fantastic setup, pretty decent weather. Not a bad day at the beach.
Not a bad day. I don't know about the breeze. A little bit overcast, but yeah, it's nice to be on the beach. It's certainly, it's not cold. Look, I mean, what a sandy beach. I've never been to Bournemouth, but pretty impressed.
First time in Bournemouth?
Yeah, first time.
First time for everything, Matthew.
Absolutely.
Matthew, last time I spoke to you, you labelled the whole Sky Sports, the zone thing as a messy divorce, but it seems as though that messy divorce has kind of got back into bed with each other again. Yesterday it was announced that Anthony Joshua's next fight, the rematch with Alexander-Usyk, will be broadcasted on Sky Sports box office. Your thoughts, Matthew?
Yeah, well, you know, because you've got a star like AJ who's so big, even though Eddie's and Matchroom have got their stable of fighters, he's kind of above, you know, he's so big as a star and what he generates and everything, that he's almost an entity on his own. And we thought there was, for a long time, that we were going to get that fight on pay-per-view, Sky. Then when he announced that he'd signed with the Zone for the future, it kind of looked like that was off the table. In fact, we were sure we weren't getting it then. And then kind of left field, all of a sudden it's back on the table, and now we do have it. So yeah, it's been a crazy few weeks, I guess, for AJ, I guess, more than anyone, to get his head around what's happening. Eddie too. But no, personally, I'm delighted that we're doing it. We get a good trip to Saudi. It's a massive fight. Can't wait for it.
Massive fight, massive night, pretty decent undercard. Nice week away in Saudi Arabia. You get a few days out here in Bournemouth. You're really spoiled for choice at the moment, aren't you, Matthew?
Dream job.
There's no such thing as a dream job, Matthew.
No, well, listen, if there was, this is it.
Anyway, let's talk a bit about that rematch. 3 weeks away now, I believe. Are you still confident Anthony Joshua gets the job done?
No, I don't. I think
sorry. Are you still confident that Usyk wins it? Because that's what you said last time.
Yeah, and I fancy Usyk, and I have done from the moment the last fight ended, when they were talking about exercising the rematch clause. I thought it was a terrible move for AJ. I thought it was a desperate move. Took us straight back in. It's like, it was different with Ruiz. You know, it was a different situation, and even then, a lot of people were saying he shouldn't have gone back in. Shouldn't have gone back into the immediate rematch. But you know, you could see it was pretty clear that AJ had took his eye off the ball. You know, all the talk fight week was of Wilder and Fury. No one was giving Ruiz a chance. No one, not one person. I mean, I remember the fight. It means all the questions were about Wilder and Fury. It'd be impossible not to lose your focus, and you know, he got caught. So you know, there were adjustments that could be made. You know, now what are the adjustments he needs to make for Usyk? Well, I don't think he's gonna stand back and box him. I think it's pretty clear he can't outbox him. Now, does that mean he's going to jump on him? Well, he's brought in Robert Garcia, who's a pretty aggressive, style-wise trainer. So, you know, that's what it suggests, and that is what he needs to do. He needs to get on him, physically impose himself, and take him out of there. But easier said than done. Now, when you're training every day in the gym, it's repetitions. You're going through moves, and what you're doing is you're programming your body for certain shots that work, for certain moves, combinations that work. Because on the night of the fight, under the heat of the battle, you're talking split seconds. You ain't got time to think, I'm going to throw this. It's just your body's just got to react. It happens. Do you know what I mean? Your body's programmed. But how long has he had with Robert Garcia to reprogram? Because his body's been programmed from a defensive-minded boxing with Ron McCracken, particularly with the Ruiz rematch, the Pulev fight, and even the way he fought Usyk, it was boxing at distance. You know, so he ain't going to win this fight at distance. He needs to get on him. So that's why they brought in Robert Garcia. But how long have they had to reprogram his style? You know, I don't know. And even if they have, and he's doing it in the gym and it's good, when the bell rings and he tries to get on Usyk and Usyk clips him, does he revert back to how he's been training and how his body's been programmed to fighting for the last few years? It's a tough one for him, I think. I think he would have been better off if he's going with Robert Garcia, having a couple of fights with Robert Garcia. You know, he didn't need to. I don't think he necessarily needed to execute the rematch clause. I think it's a desperate move. You know, I don't think it's a boxing motivated move. I don't think anyone in boxing as a trainer or manager would have said, let's do that. I think it's a commercial decision based on the zone, Sky, TV money. You know what I mean? Promotional, it's commercial reason that's been made. You know, I don't think that someone who's got boxing knowledge that's invested in AJ's best interest would say, let's do that rematch. You had a bad night. You looked past it. You didn't train well. We didn't get sparring. You were injured. Whatever boxing reasons. It wasn't like that. You know, he might say he got his tactics wrong, but that was his style the last few fights. You know, can AJ jump on him? Yeah, Chisora jumped on him, but that's how Chisora fights. Chisora fights all his fights that way. He covers the distance, he closes, he cuts the ring, he gets on you. That's what he does. AJ doesn't do that. Look at his fight against Ruiz, look at his fight against Pulev, the Usyk fight. He doesn't do that, so now he's got to... So now he has to try and do that, yet he's only had X amount of weeks with a new trainer in order to try and integrate that into his new style. Is he going to do that against someone like Usyk and that quality? I would say very unlikely.
I mean, as you just mentioned, being out in New York when he lost to Andy Ruiz, there was a lot of talk of Wilder, Fury. You know, you also forgot to mention that Ruiz was a stand-in opponent for Jarrell Miller, so psychologically that could have played a part as well. And then obviously...
I don't think it was. I don't think that was a part, the Jarrell Miller, you know... In my opinion, he just looked past it. All the talk was Wilder, all the talk was Fury. No one was talking about Ruiz, and I don't think he just took his eye. Well, don't forget, he dropped Ruiz then in the third. He probably thought, this is it. Went in for the finish and got clipped. You know, in the rematch, he made the necessary adjustments. I think he came in a stone lighter. He boxed that distance, tied him up close, and did what he had to do for that fight. But you know, and Pulev, you know, but some people will say, I can see that. Look, he did what he had to do for Ruiz in the rematch. But obviously, Ruiz don't remember coming 20 stone. You know, he probably enjoyed himself a little bit too much, dining out on the first win. Pulev, he was good. Usyk, you know, he was okay in patches, but I thought he boxed the wrong fight. Now, I guess that reading between the lines, they think that too. That's why they brought in Robert Garcia, who's a more aggressive-minded trainer. Who's, you know, he's good at training fighters. Makes a lot of fighters that cover the canvas, get on top of the fighters. But I don't know if they've had long enough together to. They might be doing it in the gym, and they might be getting off in the gym in sparring, but. You know, how many weeks they're together really? Like, this is their first fight together in the heat of the battle, under pressure. Is he going to revert to type?
As I was saying, I mean, like you mentioned the whole Fury Wilder talks and the build-up between him and Ruiz, and then obviously there was a lot of talk before the Usyk fight about how the Fury fight fell through. You know, is it fair to say that you think Anthony Joshua is easily distracted?
No, I think anyone would be distracted if the way I was in New York, obviously working for Sky on the fight, and you know, there was no talk about Ruiz and AJ. It was all about what's next. It was all about Wilder and Fury. You know, it'd be nearly impossible not to get distracted. You know, complacency is the hardest thing to guard against when you're such a favourite in a fight. It's so difficult to guard against because it creeps in subconsciously. You know, you try your best to keep it out, to stay away, but you come to an event like this as a fighter, which you're obligated to do because of the promotional, promotionally you will have promotional obligations, and everyone's asking you about Fury and Wilder. And as much as you're trying to say, well, look, I'm focused on Ruiz. Yeah, but, you know, Fury, Wilder, you know, it just gets shifted. It's hard to guard against. And I think that's what happened, AJ. You know,
Sorry,
Ruiz-
Matthew, this sand is
And listen, by the way, Ruiz was a better fighter than people were giving him credit for going in anyway, and he played his part. He played the part. I'm happy to be here. So, you know, AJ's guard was down here, you know, in New York.
Sorry, Matthew, this sand is just not helping the tripod at all, so we'll do the best we can. But nonetheless, the rematch is 3 weeks away. Now, when you look at the whole Usyk-Joshua story, a lot of people say, well, AJ should have been more aggressive, they should have jumped on him. But I feel as if, and personally, I feel as if Alexander Usyk doesn't get the credit he deserves for that performance he puts in that night. Could it be a case of that Usyk is just a far better fighter than Anthony Joshua? And are we also not looking at the fact that when watching the fight back, if anyone looked likely of a knockout, it wasn't Anthony Joshua, it was Alexander Usyk?
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I think Usyk is a better fighter. AJ's a bigger, stronger, more powerful fella, but that's, you know, he's not as good a boxer, he's not as good a technician, or he's not as fast, he's not as, you know, agile, any of those things. Usyk's the better fighter, you know, but AJ's the bigger man, the stronger man, the more powerful man. So if he can turn it into a fight where those factors are important, if he makes it a physical fight, if he can impose himself, then he's giving himself a great chance. But you know, people say about Chisora, oh, he needs to do what Chisora did. Yeah, but that's what Chisora does. That's how Chisora fights every fight. He's great at cutting off the ring. He's got fast feet for a big guy. He gets on top of his opponents. He drags them in. That's what he does. Chisora does what it says on the tin, and he's very good at doing it. And he had a lot of success with Usyk doing that. AJ doesn't do, you know, his last few fights in particular anyway, he hasn't done that. It's very much keep the distance, maintain distance, look for the right hand, straight shots. That's the straight shots. It's length, it's distance. So, you know, he's got to change that and now get on top of Usyk and try and drag him into it, make him his physical attributes. He's got to impose them on him. But it's all right saying you've got to do that. We all know what he should do. He'll know what he should do. Whether or not he can do that, that's another thing.
Lastly, before I let you go, because I know you've got a number of people wanting to talk to you, speaking of that heavyweight division, Tyson Fury, the man who's got so many options right now, he's spoken about a third fight with Derek Chisora, he's speaking about an exhibition fight with Thor Bjornsson. But if you was to pick Tyson Fury's next move, because I know you know him pretty well, what do you think the Gypsy King does next? Does he wait for the winner of Usyk-Joshua? Does he really is he serious about a third fight with Chisora because of his comments before his fight with Dillian White, or can you see this exhibition with Thor Bjornsson being a major possibility for Tyson?
I think the only fight he's probably really interested in is the winner of Usyk and Joshua, but he's probably thinking they're not fighting till August, when, you know, that's December. I boxed earlier on in the year, I want to get out before then. You know, yeah, I'd say he's just throwing a few options out there. I think the fight he wants is Usyk and Joshua.
Okay. Matthew, I'd love to stay here and talk to you all day long, but I know a number of people want to speak to you, so thank you for your time. A pleasure as always, and thank you for talking to Lights Out.
No, cheers, thanks.